Hello. In the world of Rhaeos, there are gods and there are mortals. Seldom do the two directly interact, although sometimes even gods need helping hands. And so it comes to pass that an Air Genasi, an Amethyst Dragonborn, a Changeling, and a long-forgotten Warforged are called upon by the Shepherd. Enjoy. Cato, you are in the Equinox Library, studying as you always do. Outside it's a fairly nice day. You know, the sun's not too warm. There's a nice breeze coming off from the docks. The sort of weather where you could wear a jacket, but you wouldn't need a full coat. And yeah. What kind of books are you looking at reading at the moment?
At the moment, I am reading about I'm trying to learn how martial arts and religion and like mindfulness all come together. I'm doing a little philosophy study right now, I suppose.
Sure. Kind of trying to get to the kind of the spiritual center of martial arts, essentially. Yeah. Delightful. And where better than a library, of course, because the stillness and the silence kind of, you know, makes you feel calm on the inside as well as the general quiet around. Which is why
have all those ancient texts.
Exactly. And there's that kind of that smell that just kind of, you know, it's that musty page smell that's just like you smell it and you immediately trust that this is important knowledge.
Yeah, like old paper and dust and mahogany.
Someone at one point did scream that it was mahogany, but they were quickly evicted. Mahogany. Anyway, so it's a nice, chill, relaxed sort of time, which is why it's surprising when you hear a kerfuffle coming from down one of the kind of aisles of books. You kind of look up, tilt your head over, and you see a sheep. They're pretty fluffy. It must be just the way the light's playing on it, but it almost looks kind of like a light lavender color wool. But it's definitely a sheep. It definitely shouldn't be in a library.
Who let this sheep in the library? Is that your sheep? Is this somebody's sheep?
You just hear someone behind you go, shh.
Oh, wait a minute. I think to myself, am I the only person that can see this sheep? And I all of a sudden get really embarrassed that I said anything out loud about it.
Can you roll me a perception check, please?
Yes.
Just to see if anyone else has kind of twigged that there is a sheep in this building.
Sorry, just one moment.
Hey, nice.
I lost my D&D Beyond page.
That's absolutely fine. Honestly, with the surprise of a sheep suddenly appearing, I would lose my sheets too. I would be like, what's going on?
The sheep has thrown me off.
Honestly.
Alrighty. So rolling for perception. A nat 20.
Delightful. Wonderful. First roll, straight off with a nat 20. Wonderful. So you take a quick look around in that kind of panic of, is anyone else seeing this sheep? And you can see that a couple of other people have just kind of gone, is that a sheep? Is that a sheep? You are not the only person who has realized there is sheep.
Oh, okay.
But with a natural
Not going
20,
crazy.
you also see someone kind of like scampering in. They are kind of average sort of height. Kind of the purple skin and white hair and the pointed ears that would mark them as a drow. They're wearing fairly nice, kind of like simple but nice clothes. And they are currently holding on to one of those shepherd's crooks. Which makes you think that this is probably the owner of the sheep. And they are kind of looking in between the stacks of books. Unfortunately, the sheep's there, and they're heading in that direction.
I'm trying to decide if I'm going to approach this person and ask why they have entered the library with a sheep, or if I'm going to go look at the sheep a little closer. I think my curiosity has gotten the best of me, and I am going to approach the drow.
You, kind of... Do you just, like, get up and leave the books as is, or do you, like, close them, put them to one side?
I closed the one I was looking at, actually, and I put it under my arm, and I take it with me over to talk to the
Fair
drow.
reasonable.
Not really consciously, I just do it because I was in the middle of reading, you know?
Very reasonable. As you approach this individual, kind of feminine looking, similar to you in the respect that their hair is just kind of tied up in a high ponytail. They kind of like, they're looking through the books, and as you get a little bit closer, they kind of turn around, kind of look up at you and go, "Hi, sorry, have you seen a sheep around here?"
Yes, it's literally right over there. I thought
I went the
you
wrong
walked
way.
in with your sheep.
Oh, he got away from me. He likes to go inside buildings. It's a whole thing. I know this is a big thing to ask, but would you mind helping me escort him out? Just so he doesn't, if he tries to break away from me, just so the other sort of side's covered.
Yes, I suppose I could help.
Delightful. My name's Erin. It's lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kato.
Wonderful. Let's go get Frederick. And she kind of like starts kind of making her way over to where you last saw the sheep. It hasn't really moved. It seems to be like, it's just sort of like, is that mahogany? It isn't like doing anything particularly damaging or harmful to any of the books. It just seems to be a little interested in where it is in that kind of, I'm a sheep, I don't belong here, what is going on kind of way. But yeah, she gets behind where he is, and kind of gestures for you to get the other side so you can kind of like pen him in as she starts to kind of shuffle him towards the door. Frederick's a fairly docile sheep. Doesn't take too much effort to get him towards the door. And you can see just outside, where it's a really nice warm day, where you would expect to see, the rest of the flock. It's just regular people. You don't see any more sheep. Just seems to be the one.
Erin, is this your only sheep?
Oh no, the rest are a little further down the road. He's a fast one when he wants to be.
Are they all like this one? Or are they all kind of purpley colored?
Oh, yes, it's a sort of a quirk that runs in the family. They don't seem adversely affected by it, but they are all sort of born with slightly different coloured walls.
That's so interesting. I've never seen a purple colored sheep. Do you sell the wool? Do you make things out of it?
I don't make things myself. I'm not particularly gifted with crafting, but we do, I'm very much of the opinion that when the wool's ready to fall, the wool will fall. We kind of get indicators from the sheep when it's time. You know, when they're feeling the coat being particularly heavy. It does make it a little difficult to trade because we can't be particularly consistent at times, but because of the uniqueness of the wool, people tend to wait for it. So.
Is that why you're in Rhaeos right now?
I had a couple of errands to run and I couldn't leave them behind, yes. Why are you here? Out of curiosity.
Oh, I'm just studying. I'm a student or, recent graduate of the local monastery. And, I just like to keep up with my education, advance my knowledge further. So I was just studying when your very interesting sheep walked in and broke my concentration.
Well, on behalf of Frederick, I'm terribly sorry for breaking your concentration. Frederick, say sorry. And you just see the sheep kind of look up. Meh. It's my one good animal impression. That's it. We're done.
What was that moment I missed? Okay, apology accepted, Frederick. So you said you were here to run errands. What sort of errands bring you to Rhaeos?
Well, my family are in need of a little bit of help, and I was looking for specific people that we'd sort of flagged who might be interested in that kind of work. It's a little unorthodox, and as you were having this conversation, whether you're conscious of it or not, you two have started kind of walking in the direction of, you assume, the rest of the sheep. And as Erin is sort of telling you that the family business is doing well, but it's getting to the point where demand is outstripping what they can provide, basically. As you walk, you get the feeling she's not talking about wool. But you can't quite put your finger on what it might be. But she continues, we were recently suggested to us that we might consider an intern program, because that way people get experience and we have a lot of things to offer, and, my family's, good standing. Some would argue very good standing. And we have a lot to reward people with for helping us out where they can. So that's why I'm here. Anyway.
You say internship? I have not done an internship yet since being a student. I am actually seeking something sort of like that, but I'm confused. I don't understand. What are these errands? What are what is it that you need help with?
It's funny that you should say that you're looking for something like this, Kato, because it was you I was sent here to find.
Me?
Yes. You two head around a corner. You realize you're about to essentially walk into an alleyway, but at the end of the alleyway, instead of garbage and bins and things, you see a brightly illuminated purple door. You, being a student and B, fairly knowledgeable about the gods, you know the legend of the door at the top of the mountain. This is sort of like one of those old wives' tales that's kind of like, you imagine the story's probably changed as it's been passed down over time. But the legend says that when you come to the end of your life, you must climb a mountain. And at the top of the mountain, there is a purple door. And behind the purple door, the shepherd is waiting to take you home. Now you know that the shepherd is a god of death.
As all of this memory of this knowledge kind of flows through my head, I get this sudden my heart starts to beat a little faster, and a little bit of reservation sets in, and I turn to Aaron and I say, if that's what I think it is, and if you are who I think you might be, I'm not ready to die. I thought that this was just a job opportunity.
No. You do not misunderstand. This is not a one-way trip. This is your death is not necessary for this job. But the door is the easiest way to get you to the Celestial Nexus.
Can I roll an insight to see if I trust her?
Absolutely.
+18 +2, so that's a dirty 20.
Filthy 20, incredible. Yeah, Aaron is you've pretty much twigged that Aaron is at the very least a representation of the shepherd right now. Quite literally in this case. But there doesn't seem to be any kind of deception or deceit. You see when she realizes what you've realized and the conclusion that you've jumped to, like her face is immediately like apologetic in that kind of like, I did not mean to make you think about your mortality. I am so sorry. Yeah, as much as you think you can read a god, Aaron is pretty readable in this moment. And
okay,
when she says that this is not you dying, she means it.
It's very sincere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, in that case, and I kind of look back at the library and I think about how my day was going to go before crossing paths with Aaron. I'm like, suppose I have nothing else going on. Can I take my book with me? I hold up my book.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Frederick, go and open the door, please. And you see Frederick just kind of trot up to the door. Kind of gives it a little nudge and it pushes open, and beyond you see like a very bright light, and you see Frederick kind of like begin to light up and shift from the shape of a sheep into just this kind of spectral ball, and then vanishes through the door.
Is that going to happen to me?
No. Frederick was actually the other errand I was running.
Oh.
He lived a very good life, and agreed to assist me with one last thing before he moves on. He was surprisingly excited to be a sheep.
Aww. Made me like Frederick even more. I'm really glad I helped you find Frederick and escort him out of the library. What's the proper way to do this? Do I just walk up to it and walk through?
Sure. Would you like to walk through with me? Would that be a little easier?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. She offers you her hand.
Take a deep breath and then take her hand.
As you step towards the door, it sort of expands a little bit to kind of accommodate the fact that you're both going to be walking through at the same time, because, you know, two people ain't getting through a single door. Yeah, she stops briefly just before the door, kind of smiles at you, nods, and then you both step through, and you are enveloped in this warm glow and find yourself on the other side. And that's where we're going to pick up next time. It is it's a pretty rainy day today. Like it's overcast. It's raining in that almost not worth taking an umbrella, kind of like really light mist rain.
Yeah, I don't think he would normally take an umbrella either way. It's water, it doesn't bother.
Yeah, that's fair and reasonable. But yeah, it's getting on for lunchtime. Whereabouts are you?
Goodness, he's probably helping somebody he knows at a pier unload some cargo. Work has been probably slow for him. People probably haven't needed too many strong arms to join them on their short delivery runs or longer, whichever. Past the time, middle of the day, he's probably just helping pull some boxes and crates and barrels and all that off of a ship or two at the moment.
Fair and reasonable. It makes sense. Even though it's like it's not super chilly, like even with a little bit of a breeze, like you're still, you're working. You would, in theory, be working up a sweat if you sweated. I don't think Dragonborn do sweat, do they?
Not entirely. I bet that there is still some weird like high fantasy arcane sweat that beads down from under his scales. It's like it's I think the hydration in the air makes him go ugh, and like it's sweating. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. It's suddenly turned into a Diet Coke advert,
There's been that weird meme going on from the Chilean or some South American advertisement that they spliced into, I think it was Star Wars, where it's like Obi-Wan reaches into a chest behind something, and then it cuts to somebody doctoring in a hand that's like in the same cloak, reaching and grabbing a beer, and it goes into a commercial, then it goes seamlessly back into the movie. I think it's similar like that, where it's like he brushes off his forehead, then in universe ale that he just had
just looks at the camera like, hey,
you want to try one of these? Reaches at the camera, but then it like pans and it's his friend on the other side. I need to actually bring this down the ramp. Oh right, sorry.
Yeah.
Grabs the
would you stop breaking the fourth wall?
No, actually.
Delightful. As you're taking probably one of the last barrels back up, you find as you kind of get up to the top of the steps, there is a slight impediment that you hadn't immediately noticed, which is there is a sheep standing in your way. For reference, this is a regular sheep. Looks to be minding its own business. The only difference is that its wool appears to be like a light pinkish, like a pastel pinkish color.
So, is this a sheep that has horns? Because some have their little ram horns, some don't.
This does not appear to be. Yeah, this is not a ram situation. It's just a sheep who's vibing.
Okay, livestock sheep. Okay. I would think at this point, without actually thinking, Zenite would probably walk over to the sheep and pick it up and try to throw it over his shoulder, like holding the back legs and like, all right, where's this going?
Can you roll me a strength saving throw contested against the sheep? We're doing a grapple on the sheep. It's a contested roll.
Oh, this is a grapple, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna double check.
You are essentially hog tying a sheep to put over your shoulder right now.
Yeah, essentially. Let's see. Okay, I don't have any actual big bonuses to grappling specifically. It's a 15 on the die. You said it's a strength saving throw?
Yeah.
20.
Nice. The sheep did not roll quite as well, unfortunately. So there's a little bit of wiggling and a lot of
Can I also roll animal handling? Like, shh.
Absolutely. You can absolutely roll animal handling.
I have nothing in it. I have 1 in it. So let's 17.
Delightful. Yeah, you saw me. Shh. It's okay. Shh.
I readjust so it's not like it's undercarriage directly on my shoulder. It's more so it's where its arms, the front legs meet, and I'm more holding it like a baby over the shoulder. Not a baby over the shoulder. It's not, you don't hold babies that way.
No, but I feel like birthing a baby. Yeah.
I'm burping the sheep a little
You're
bit.
burping the sheep.
Okay.
Yeah, you just hear this meh.
Bah. Bah.
Bah. Oh,
I'm so much better now.
my apologies. Yeah, you have the sheep. Livestock weren't on the docket?
I'm looking around for the person I was helping out. I look over the side of the boat and do I see him anywhere?
He's kind of like still struggling with the crate that he was struggling with because he's not nearly as stacked as you are. You do also notice though, there is a woman down there. She has kind of like light purple skin, the kind of telltale pointed ears and white hair of a drow, in simple but, you know, kind of good quality clothing. She also has one of those sticks that ends in a little curl, like a shepherd's crook.
Oh. I am gonna be... that's a sign. Alright. Let's go. Ugh. Readjusts, puts it back up, and starts to make way down. Yeah, oh, I know. That's fine. Walks down the ramp there, walks over, and... was this on the boat for a reason, or where are we putting this? I say to the other dock worker I was...
He kind of turns around, like, looks at you, looks at the sheep, looks at you, just like... What are you doing with that?
It was on the boat.
What? It's at this point that the woman who's kind of a little ways away kind of turns around and goes, "Oh!" Kind of scurries over. "I'm so sorry. I do believe that's mine."
Yeah. Let me just double check to make sure, because people can't just be running over and saying that.
Of course.
I look over to the other dude and I'm like, he just essentially confirmed that this sheep was not essentially on the boat or supposed to be. So he shakes his head. That's fine. I drop the sheep. It's like sitting on one arm, so it's like leg.
Yeah.
All right, and
it's literally just like dangling its little leggies for a second, like
it's doggy paddling.
And then you put it down, and puts its feet on the ground, and then it looks up at you like a little disgruntled, like, "Why'd you stop? What the hell?"
Lifting back up, and I walk over.
The woman in front of you is kind of like, "Oh, Evelyn, you make friends everywhere you go." My apologies. She's very friendly.
It seems it. Absolutely. I think I might have been a bit rude in the initial interaction, where picking up a strange sheep, strange colored sheep. Can you said I have more questions than I think I have the means to ask. How did this sheep get on? Do you know how the sheep got on the boat? I was growing up.
She tends to wander and gets herself into the strangest situations.
I feel like I would have saw the sheep get up on there. I
mean, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't realize she was going to actually try and hop onto a boat, of all things, but...
Can I roll insight on both? Her and the sheep?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to see you insight check a sheep.
I'm just trying to see if this sheep is mischievous and maybe is like, I have a secret you don't know. First one is not great. That is a total of 8.
So the woman seems pretty forthright and pretty chill. Like, you kind of get the impression that she's a little embarrassed that the sheep got away from her.
That's fine. And then this is for the sheep, I think. That's worse. 7.
The sheep, as all sheep are, is an enigma.
That is a very true fact.
What's going on behind those eyes? We never know. We just don't know.
Well, Evelyn's very... You said it was Evelyn?
Yes.
Very... that was not your... That's the sheep's... Not your name?
No, I'm Erin. Lovely to meet you.
Erin, that's a very nice name, too.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. Light head bow. But he starts to, like, casually just, like, crack his shoulder and just... Sorry, I was lifting. He starts to flex a little bit, not actually trying to be, like, himbo-y flexing to show off, but he's just, like...
Yeah, he's just stretching. He's just stretching out.
Yeah, he's the casual. I just gotta.
Yeah, right. Are you in directions? That way? That
Yeah,
way?
your sheep was just up on. And that's the boat. Actually, it was this boat. But it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm glad I was able to reunite you with your long lost, short lost sheep. It's been nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't suppose you would happen to be looking for any work right now, would you?
Always am. Yeah.
How do you feel about sort of errand work?
I've essentially been doing a simple version of that for quite a while, so if it changes up the pace, it couldn't hurt.
Errand work that had a guarantee of very good pay and not necessarily a contract, but consistent work.
That sounds pretty convenient, actually. I'm suspicious.
I mean, that's fairly understandable, Zenite.
Steps back.
You may have already noticed, but I'm not a regular shepherd, and this is not a regular sheep.
I mean, I've seen some people dye their sheep and put numbers on them and race them, so, I mean, I've seen some crazy things in the world.
Fair enough. Are you familiar with the gods?
I know, they're all doing their thing. I like the Stormcaller. He sounds pretty cool. She's all, they are, I'm not sure, but yeah, no, they're up there. They're doing their thing.
Would you like to meet the Stormcaller?
There's a moment in Zenite's eyes where it's like a moment of like childlike flicker pops in. Yeah, no, that I could. Yeah, I mean, is that the job?
I mean, not exclusively just the Stormcaller, but the gods need help.
Oh, doing what?
Answering prayers. This world is very large, and more and more people are born into it every day. We're kind of struggling to keep up.
I think I'll accept anyways, but where did the decision to find you knew my name off the bat, Aaron, and that's a little strange. I will say a little strange to me. Not many people will just know my name.
I mean, if it helps, I do have the distinct advantage in that I know everyone's name.
That's frightening. That's a lot of weight to carry. Ooh.
Well, I don't know them all immediately off the top of my head. I look at someone and I know their name.
Double-edged sword. Convenient, but also easy to slip on. You know what? I trust that. I like that. That's fun. Okay. You know what? Go with the punches. Roll with the flow. Whew. Well, I'll take you up on that offer. Where do I have to follow? Do I have to go anywhere? What's the plan? I'm gonna help with finishing up the boat, but
she kind of looks over your shoulder and you kind of follow her gaze and you see that everyone's kind of getting on with it.
I was gonna have 5 gold from that.
Oh, just 5? She kind of reaches into a pocket, hands you 10.
Are these like pristine?
No, they look like they've been in circulation.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say because he knows circulated coins very well.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, very nice. All right, thinks nothing of it. Puts in the pocket. Appreciate that. Pleasure doing, I guess, preamble business. But yeah, from where do we go from here? That's my next question.
Well, I suppose you would probably know it as the the beyond, but I just call it home.
He leans forward. You mean like the beyond? Like it's where everyone goes? Like,
Oh,
beyond
okay, so there's a stage before the bit. You won't actually have to be dead.
Oh.
I really should lead with that, actually. I really should lead with that.
Whew, weight off my chest again.
No, you're fine, you're fine. You don't have to die, don't worry. No, where the gods reside, my home, is called the Celestial Nexus. That's where we need to go.
Okay. We gonna boat there, fly, teleport, close my eyes over there, find a doorway, railroad, or I'm trying to just figure out the logistics of this thing here. He takes out a little notebook. It has the name Rhaeos on it scribbled out.
You did get it in that whole pile of suggestions. We just need a doorway. And she takes out of her another pocket a piece of chalk and begins to draw in the air the shape of a door. And as she completes the door, there is a flash of purple light, and you see in front of you a purple door.
Celestial zone. All right, cool. It's a chalk zone reference, everyone. Thank you. I follow. I'll follow any lead that is given to me here. I'm easy going. Might as well walk through the door. No harm done.
She kind of clicks her finger, and the door opens behind her, and you see beyond her just this vibrant, warm light. Between you, Evelyn the sheep just kind of looks up at the pair of you and goes, meh, and then just trots through. As Evelyn sort of hits the light, you see this form of the sheep start to glow, and then kind of like spirals into just like a very soft kind of like orb that then sinks through.
Okay.
You don't have to do that. We can just walk through.
I don't think I could have if I tried. Okay. Let's lead the way.
Okay. She heads through the doorway.
Right behind.
Wonderful. As you head through the door, you are enveloped in this warm, glowing light. And that is where we will pick it up next time. It is sort of mid-afternoon. It's a very bright, warm, sunny day. And yeah, the town square is kind of bustling. What are you up to right now?
I think at this point, Trixie's going to be in the middle of town square, and she's definitely going to be using her maracas to do like a little shimmy show, you know?
Ooh, shimmy and shimmy and shake.
You know, she's trying to, you know, like she's doing like a little bend and snap type of action and stuff, you know, just sort of like.
She's seen Legally Blonde. She knows what's up.
Exactly. You know, she's trying to lure in, you know, a potential daddy.
Incredible. Can you roll me a performance check? Just to see how wonderful this shimmying and shaking is.
That is a dirty 20.
Incredible. Yeah, you look, you got it going on today. Like the sun's hitting just right. You got the perfect amount of like just a slight amount of oil on your shoulders, so it just like catches the light. Just so seductive. Yeah, you've caught some people's eyes. There's I think there's probably like a couple of like street performers who were just kind of just like getting ready to set up, but seeing you kind of performing and also kind of being into it are kind of essentially providing you with like backing music.
Nice.
Like they're just like, you know what? Yeah, you get it, girl. Go, queen. So yeah, you got kind of like a little kind of like samba jazz moment happening right now as you kind of just shimmy away. There's a little crowd appearing. There's a couple of like, so there's quite a few guys who've stopped, obviously, There's a couple of girls who stopped, obviously, and there's a couple of women who are just like staring at their partners like, you fucking for real right now?
I love that.
Which is delightful. Is there any, like, are you looking for anything in particular when you're looking at a potential papa?
So, ultimate goal is she wants to find, like, a better sugar daddy. So, she currently has one, and he already, like, provides a lot for her. So, I think currently she's just sort of, like, eyeing them up to see if any of them look like they, are actually, like, more wealthy. Like, if they're dressed better, but I think she also has, like, a keen eye for, like knockoffs and stuff, just because she, this is what she does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she's trying to just, like, decipher it. Like, if any of them have, like, like a fancy watch, or, just, like, are wearing, like, some sort of, like, brand name something or other, or anything like that. Like, that's,
yeah.
That's what she's looking for.
You're looking for wealth, but you're also aware of, like, when someone's faking it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
100%. You've seen those, like, knockoff Gucci bags on the market. You know what's up.
Yeah.
Gucci is now...
I learned about all of that before I was in our home.
For sure. I love the fact that I've also just made Gucci an actual brand that exists in this world now, just by speaking that into existence. It's just like, well, that exists
it's
now.
All Gucci.
Yeah, that's probably a thing that people say as well. Gucci exists.
I mean,
adding that to my world building
gonna say
notes.
that.
Delightful.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys who clearly have, like, a bit of money and like, are not, kind of... You see, one of them is kind of like, he's kind of that understated, like, doesn't necessarily need to flex how wealthy he is, but still has kind of, like, he has a good, like, he has a really, like, good quality pocket watch on him. And there's another guy who's a little bit more flashy. Not all of it is originals, but enough of it is that you think, okay, this guy's got a fair amount of money. But you also recognize that neither of them probably, like, they're not necessarily in the same league as your current sugar daddy, right?
Okay. That doesn't mean I can take stuff from them.
Hey, no, that's absolutely fair and reasonable, I'm just letting you know the playing field right now. One other thing you do notice, which is a little unusual and strange, is that there is a sheep in the crowd.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's a little unusual. It's like there is a livestock market in the city, but it is nowhere near this area. Also, the sheep is like a really, like, very pale kind of baby blue color. Like, the wool itself is like this pale baby blue color, which is, I think you would know, is pretty unusual for a sheep.
Yeah. So I think as she's, like, doing, like, her little shimmy and stuff and eyeing up the men, like, they originally had most of her attention, but, like, once she sees the sheep, I think she's just going to, like, sort of just, like, very theatrically just, like, toss the maracas and just, like, and, like, just, like, do, like, the cute little run over to it and, like, just get down to her knees and, like, start trying to pet it and stuff.
Adorable. The sheep is very receptive to this, loves getting attention, is very, so you notice that this is very clean sheep. Like, there's no kind of, like, mud on the hooves or anything. It doesn't look like it's been near a field in a hot second, just because, like, it's very clean and presentable. Which is great for you, because that means, you're not gonna get shit all over you.
Yeah.
But it's still unusual. Like, you're pretty, like, look, you're no country girl, obviously. But you're pretty sure that sheep run around in mud and things. So the fact that the sheep is clean is a little weird.
Yeah, I think, I'm gonna try and, like, look around to see if, anybody seems to be, like, lingering by the sheep, like, maybe if it belongs to them. But, like, also while she's trying to, like, observe the surroundings to see where, who this sheep might belong to, I think she's just, like, still gonna be talking to it and be like, oh my gosh, who's your daddy? Maybe my daddy will let me keep you.
Oh, I love and hate this. Can you roll me a perception check, please?
Okay, so I have a quick question.
Yes.
I have expertise on perception. What does that do?
So, essentially, you double your proficiency. So the sheet will already have done that for you.
Okay, so if I just roll it, then it'll do it for me?
So you can either roll it on D&D Beyond, or you can roll the dice and add the number next to perception.
It's a 15.
15, delightful. Yeah, the sheep's into it. The sheep's loving it. It's getting little scritches under the chin. It's having a great time. You just hear these stuff like meh, meh, meh. Look, this is the one impression I can do.
No,
the one animal impression I got. I'm like, it's sheep all the way, baby.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's, it's vibing, it's having a great time. You take a quick look around. You see the two guys that you were kind of eyeing up earlier, who were just, like, looking a bit like everyone in the crowd's kind of like, this is entertaining. This is still entertaining to them, but it's like, this is taking a very different tone. It's like, what's happening right now? You see, a little further back from the crowd, you see this woman. She's kind of like light purple skin, kind of the telltale pointed ears and white hair that would signify a drow. She's wearing very nice clothes. They look quite simple in cut, but they are, you can tell even from this distance with your particular eye that these are good quality clothes. And she's kind of like looking around, but she hasn't really clocked this kind of area yet. But she is also holding like a shepherd's crook, like one of those sticks with the twisted on the end. Which may indicate that she's looking for a sheep.
Right. Yeah, so I think whenever Trixie sees the drow, she's gonna look at the sheep and she's like, "Oh, you don't have a daddy, you have a mommy. I think she's looking for you." And like, I'm gonna like try and like, herd the sheep back to the lady, because I want to see if I can, take the sheep home with me.
Absolutely. I mean, like the minute you start kind of trying to coax this sheep, the sheep's willing to go because you're giving it scritches. It's having a great, it's like wherever you want to go, I'm going. I'm going with you,
baby.
So you start kind of like shuffling your way over there.
And she's still walking with like.
Oh, absolutely!
Nice sway,
like she's got a good sway going. 100%. I've never seen someone strut with a sheep beside them before, but I can imagine the visual, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
As you kind of get closer to this woman, she kind of like clocks like more of her surroundings and sees you and sees the sheep, and she kind of like, you see her take a kind of a big sigh of relief as she kind of walks up to you and says, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Gustav, what are you doing?" And she's kind of like talking to the sheep. She's like, "You keep doing this. Just wander off. It's not safe in the city. I've told you 1 billion times. I'm so sorry." Gustav has a
He's
wild
not a
spirit.
bother at all. Well, I was wondering, could, I mean, he's so cute, and, so am I. So I kind of, can I have him? Can I buy him from you? Or like, well, can my daddy buy him from you and he'll go home with me?
I don't really own Gustav. Gustav's his own person.
Trixie's just gonna like look a little bit confused and like look down at the sheep and I'm like, "It's a sheep."
Gustav looks at you and just goes, "Eh?"
So I don't have to pay for him?
Well, no, but you would have to agree with him and get his consent.
I'm gonna look down at the goat and like I'm gonna start like scritching under his chin and be like, "Do you want to go home with me?"
He kind of like looks at you as you're scritching under his chin, and then he looks over at Aaron and the drow who hasn't even introduced herself, but I've just told you her name anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of looks over at the drow, who just kind of just like looks at him and goes, "It's your decision, Gustav." And it kind of looks at her, looks at you, looks at her, looks at you, and then kind of looks sad and kind of like pulls back a little bit and like trots over to her side.
I mean, I can... Well... Where do you guys live? Like, I'm talking to the drow now.
We're not too far away from here. If you like, you can come with us and I can show you.
Yeah, let's do that.
Delightful. My name's Erin, by the way.
Oh, Trixie.
Trixie, wonderful, delightful. So yeah, you two start walking through the city. Like, Gustav is kind of like trotting in between the pair of you, just like, I'm having the best day. Living his best sheep life, honestly. Yeah, Erin kind of like, it's not that she looks you up and down with any judgment at all. It's just that she's kind of taking in the image, like, having now had a moment of kind of like, yes, everything is good. I have my sheep back. What is happening? Kind of like considers you for a minute and says, so what brings you to Farhul?
My daddy brought me here. We didn't really like where we were living before, and it's a lot more fun here, and there's the beach and like all of these very friendly people. I have so many friends. I don't know. Daddy takes care of me, and I'm just here to have a good time.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a pretty fun city, has to be said. Though I find it tends to be full of people who work too much. You know?
Oh, yeah, I get that. I don't work at all.
Do you just not find it fun?
Why? How could anybody find that fun? It's much more fun to just like play music in the square and, you know, go home with people and like have my daddy take me out to different things. Like that's much more enjoyable.
Well, I mean, for some people, playing in the square is a job that they get paid for, and for some people,
I mean, I guess I do kind of get paid for that. So I guess I have an unofficial job. I'm my own boss.
That sounds pretty good. I'm sort of my own boss as well.
Oh, what do you do?
It's complicated. I help people with lost things.
Like internally, like Trixie internally, she was just like, and I help people loot things. But she doesn't say that out loud.
Yeah, I love that. I help people who've lost things, and I help them lose it.
Yeah, but like you can totally see that like she is thinking something similar to that. Like on her face, she was like,
100%. As you guys keep walking, she's kind of like, kind of headed away from the square and into a little. It's a little quieter in this kind of area of town, which sounds like, you know, oh, there's nobody around. No, it's still busy. It's just less quiet. It's less kind of like chaotic than the town square. It's interesting though.
Oh, I've been here before. Matthew lives over there, and Jimmy lives over there. Oh, and I think Sean might be back there. I've been here a few times.
That doesn't surprise me, especially given how well off Matthew's family are. Although less so now, I believe.
Oh, about that.
Of course you wouldn't, Trixie. And again, you kind of like, there's something about Erin where you know she's not judging, like, you at all, but you also get the feeling that she knows exactly what you mean. She knows. She been done new. It's actually interesting that I should meet you here. I'm looking for someone with a similar skill set to yours.
dancing and singing as she like pulls out the maracas again.
And the rest, yes. If you were ever...
Trixie's gonna, like, I think she's gonna try and, like, play dumb just a little bit longer. She's like, I don't know what you mean.
Of course not. If you were ever considering another unofficial job, I have something that might interest you.
Could I maybe find, like, a better daddy?
I mean, anything's possible. You could maybe even find enough wealth to make sure that you never rely on anyone ever again.
I'm listening.
My family and I, we are a little stretched thin, and we need people with specific skills to help lighten the load. We have extensive resources, and we are willing to pay whatever your heart's desire for assistance with those.
You
jobs.
see, like, a twinkle in Trixie's eye. Yes. She's seeing, like, dollar signs, you know? Can you... I mean, what would this job entail?
Honestly, it would vary from day to day. You wouldn't be on your own. You would be working with a team. I wouldn't expect anyone to shoulder this burden alone. But the rewards will be personalized to each of you. What someone values is not necessarily what everyone values.
I mean, if I decide that I don't want to do it anymore, can I come back?
Of course. I would never consider holding anyone.
And where would I have to go for this? Like, do I get to stay here? Do I get to, or do I need to, like, go tell my daddy that I'm gonna be gone?
If you want to tell him that you're going to be gone, you can, but where we're going, time works a little differently. If you wanted to be back here in the same moment, we could do that.
So he wouldn't even know I'm gone?
He wouldn't even know you were gone.
Well, then let's go.
Delightful. Gustav, dear, could you get the door? As you continue walking, you kind of wheel round into a alleyway. And at the end of the alleyway, where you would normally expect to find like piles of rubbish and like bins and stuff, you find there's a large purple doorway. The little sheep kind of like just looks up at the Perry and goes, eh, and then trots over to the door, kind of nudges it with his forehead, and the door opens, and you can see this stunningly bright light through the doorway. And as Gustav's forehead touches the light, you see him start to glow, and then his shape kind of like becomes a little translucent and forms this like ball of energy that then moves through the doorway.
Trixie's just gonna be like, oh my god, Gustav, you're so pretty!
He'll be on the other side when we get there. You'll be able to say goodbye. Gustav
He said
is...
he wanted to stay with you. He's not coming with us?
He is... Gustav isn't always a sheep. He's doing me a favor. But Gustav has lived a very good, very long life, and is ready for the next stage.
He's gonna die? Like, she's like completely distraught.
Trixie, we all die at some point.
But I just met him. That's not fair.
Death isn't always fair, unfortunately. But he's just on the other side of the doorway. You can say goodbye for what it goes.
Okay.
Shall we?
I guess so. And she'll just go ahead and
Step through the doorway?
Yep.
Beautiful. As you step through, you are just embraced by this warm, like, glowing light. And that is where we will pick it up next time.
Nice. I hope Gustav is like a humanoid and he's hot.
You're not quite sure where you are. You're pretty sure you're still in... Come on.
Sorry, I had to
Come on. Come on. You're pretty sure you're still in Peleus.
Okay.
But exact coordinates is anyone's guess at this point. What you do know is that it is raining today.
Oh, delightful.
So
Love that.
what are you up to this morning?
I think first thing Maple does, it's very part of their like morning ritual. They kneel down to the ground, and this sort of like ephemeral green little sparkling light comes from their hands, and they cause a little sprig to grow. And depending on the flower that sprouts is what the weather is going to be like. So being that it's going to be rainy, I think because what a plant, some duckweed grows. And so Maple just like kind of looks at it. Their head sort of like tilts, and they give like the little bulbs a little poke, and a little nod. Because I don't think the weather is anything of consequence to them, but it's just something that they like to know. And they rise, give like a good like look left, look right, and they just kind of start walking. I think it's every few moments they stop what they're doing. Like there's like some ants in a trail, and as their foot's like about to go down, it just like stops, and they just kind of like lift their leg and like watch the ants go, and then they with some druid craft like take some vines and make like a little bridge above them, just so like the rain doesn't get them as they go from like little spots. It's very much the little itty bitty details Maple stops for, and it is like, I think it's one of those like, wow, this walk has been going for 2 hours and Maple has maybe moved 20 feet. It's that level of just painstakingly slow. But yeah, that's what Maple's doing.
Okay. So you would say that Maple's not really a big picture person right now.
No, I think Maple is very large, and I think that is enough the big picture they need. I think everything being small, every like if there's like a leaf that looks like a caterpillar's like about to fall off because they've eaten too much of it, Maple makes another one grow under, so that it's just like, oh my god, endless leaves. But yeah, I think Maple is just taking care of the small things that no one's out here to look out for.
Okay, interesting. Could you roll me a perception check real quick, please?
Absolutely. May I use guidance? Or sorry, guidance?
If you feel
and
that
that's
is
okay if I can't.
appropriate, yes.
Yeah, if I'm looking out for the critters, I think Maple would wanna be looking as carefully as possible.
Okay.
I mean, that's even without guidance, that's still so that's 21. Unnatural 20 plus 1 from guidance.
Guidance.
Thank you,
doing
guidance.
the work.
Guidance is like, whoo, sorry, just doing that heavy lifting, bro.
Yeah, right. Guidance. We got you.
I did my part.
So with the 21, the very hungry caterpillar is having a great day, quite frankly. The ants are sheltered on their mission for sustenance.
As they march 2 by 2.
As they march 2 by 2 by 2. Even. there is a few dragonflies in the area, which would indicate that you're probably near some body of water.
Oh, delightful.
Which is interesting. They appear to be having quite a delightful morning in the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say with the 21, you definitely noticed a sheep.
There's just like a sheep out in the middle of the forest?
You would also definitely notice, you've seen sheep before.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. You don't remember seeing a sheep that had kind of a almost like a light green, like a mint green, very pastel wool. That's new.
Huh. Yeah, no, can't say that Maple would have ever seen something like that.
The way you said that is like, Jakey's seen this.
Look, I've seen some shit.
Mint chocolate chip sheep.
Look, it was one dream. I woke up, my pillow was gone. Then I found my pillow. No, no. I think Maple. I think Maple is like after feeding the little caterpillar, like taking care of things. It's very much a stands upright, head slowly turns, and they see the sheep. It's like a little head tilt, and I think Maple is remarkably unfazed by this, but is still delighted by this a little bit. There's like almost like a no facial reaction except their little like base of their eyelids raise a little bit, just like a pinch. And they step over, like making sure to take care with each step they go. Like I think they scoop up a snail and place them like gently on like a leaf, and that snail's like, "What? It happened so fast, officer." And and then they step over, and Maple just kind of like kneels very slowly, and similar before, that kind of ephemeral green sparkle, and just makes like a little patch of grass that is, they're this pastel greenish like kind of seafoam color, you said. Yeah, I think Maple makes just bright blue grass, is just like is aware that they're a little quirky, so let's get weird.
The sheep kind of looks at the grass for a second, and then looks up at you, looks at the grass, looks at you, and just goes, meh, and then starts eating the grass.
Again, there's just that little like eye smile, and Maple shuffles some like dirt off of their hand, and not enough that they're like fully clean, but enough that like it won't get in the wool, and just gives the sheep, I think, just like a very gentle pet. And
I'm kind of imagining pet, but like slowly, just like pet.
Oh, it's absolutely. I think it's it's. I think with Maple and like animals of the wilderness, it's like oh, you need a scratch behind the left ear. I already knew that. And so yeah, it's just like very gentle, like pats, causing little vibrations through the tufts of wool. I think Maple just kind of sits by them, just listening to like the rain on the canopy.
Yeah, as the sheep goes hog wild on this grass.
Good for them. They earned it.
Get it, King. You kind of sit with them, listen to the rain hitting each of the leaves, almost like a kind of a medley of its own, in a strange musical way. You also hear slight creaking. Sound of rope on wood. And
Rope on wood?
rope on wood. You kind of... It's not a sound that you've heard very often.
Yeah, I was gonna say rope usually means people, or I think that's Maple's like relaxed demeanor looks not tense, but I think is like more aware.
Mhm.
And I think Maple like makes a little more grass sprout, and rises, and is gonna try and find the source of this. I mean, while Maple is massive, Maple is still like a little sneaky and covered in bramble and stuff. So they're gonna be kind of sneaky about it, but not like it's not high stakes stealthing. Because if somebody sees Maple, I mean, it's gonna go one of two ways. So yeah.
It takes you no time at all to find the location of this noise as you turn. You're not exactly in a clearing per se, but like there's a couple of trees a little bit further away, and on one of them there is a rope swing, and on that rope swing you spot an individual. They are kind of like light purple skin, kind of the telltale pointed ears and white hair of a drow, wearing simple clothes, good quality, clean, but simple clothes. They are sat on this swing, one hand on the rope, one hand on the wooden crook in their lap, just gently swinging and watching you with interest.
I think Maple looks at them and sees the crook, and I think first, like non-verbally, they look to the sheep and then look at the person, and then just look back at the sheep and the person, and they just keep doing that. Like it's a very much a, is this your car? But Maple doesn't say anything about it. I think like Maple's not being stubborn about it, but Maple's just like not immediately a talker. So Maple's just like, do you need me to validate your parking? Like it's that kind of. But yeah, there's just a look back and forth.
After like a solid sort of like 20 seconds of this kind of like
Maple's fully rotating at this point.
The individual on the swing kind of smiles and just kind of like offers a slight nod. Looks back to the sheep. Smiles, and you hear in Druidic.
Smiling.
That's your language. She wanted a little rest. Thank you for providing.
I think Maple blinks a few times and just kind of like looks at them. And Maple like gently scoops them, and on the dirt that cakes Maple's arms, that bluegrass grows, so they're holding them kind of like not like on their back like a baby, but more so like under, and so that they can keep like munching.
She's just like, what the? A walking buffet?
And Maple kind of like slowly walking a little closer now. Eventually I think gets like probably 10 or 20 feet from this person. Doesn't get like too close. and sits cross-legged, just like as comedic as it would be for them to like slam down. It's a very controlled like sit, as they're just kind of holding the sheep. And in Druidic, they just reply, no mouth or anything, but it's just like this humming that comes from the chest. There's a little mix of almost like an instrument, like plucking, sort of, but it's very deep, that like resonates like a hollow chamber.
Rest is important.
I think sometimes people can forget that. Even my family. You've been around people. You've been around people a lot in the past. This isn't people. Not in the way that you've known them.
I think Maple knowing that and picking up on that, being, like a gentle giant and quiet observer, I think Maple just kind of looks at them.
Do you need rest?
Eventually. I still have much to do.
Are you tired?
No, but I think some of my family are. They could use
Why?
some help from somebody with someone who has your attention to detail.
I think, like, Maple kind of sits and looks at the little sheep who's just like kind of munching away as they're like still like pat, pat, pat.
I am someone with my attention to detail.
That is true. But you have served a lot of people. And I do not want you to do this out of a sense of service.
Why else would one do it when one is made to serve? It is a calling, but it is also a gift.
I know a thing or two about being created to serve. And there is a difference between being called to a task and choosing to do the task.
Everywhere I have been called, while I may not have chosen. It chose me, and I think that is just as important. To be the shelter for the shelterless. To be,
And they kind of look up to the sky.
an umbrella in the rain. I like to choose to be called. I once served so I may live, but I found I am not made like most. I don't serve to live. I live to serve. And living is very fun.
There's just that little eyebrow smile again. Or eyelid smile, rather.
Living is fun. I don't get to see as much of it as I would like.
Why?
My calling leads me to people who are at the end of their lives. Can you roll me a religion check real quick?
Of course. Ooh, not great. 7.
I kind of wish you'd rolled higher.
Can I
yeah.
use guidance?
I'd say you could use guidance in this situation.
8.
Guidance.
Said,
doing the work.
I did my part. I think even if there isn't that full understanding, I think though doesn't change what Maple was about to say, because Maple kind of sits a little more upright.
You see them at the end. While they may be dying, are you not with them after they have had a full and long life? Is that not where the most life could be?
Not always. Sometimes. Sometimes people do not get a full life before it's time to go.
That does not sound fair.
No. But fair is an idea. It's more than that, it's an ideal. And whilst many mortals can strive for it, it is not something that the universe tends to strive for.
It kind of sits, looks at the little sheep. And I think this whole time Maple is, 'cause Maple doesn't really have pupils or anything. Maple has a very vacant face. There's not really like any semblance of emotion, but Maple makes very direct eye contact, and it's that kind of like when you're like looking in someone's soul, that vibe.
Thank you.
It's my calling.
Yes. But as someone very smart once said, it is one thing to be called. It is another thing to choose. You walk with them.
And Maple kind of takes the sheep and almost like holds them like more baby-esque, like out to themselves, like, and just kind of looks at them.
Sorry, the sheep's just there, just like, meh.
To watch over such a generous flock. Those that must be sad. Those that must not be ready to go. Those where it may not be fair. It must take a very skilled shepherd.
I may have picked up a few tricks along the way.
I am honored your path has led you here.
And then they kind of pause, like something that hadn't occurred to them because of this conversation.
Am I going to die?
You see it for a moment, just kind of like, she closes her eyes and just goes, I really need to get better at this conversation.
I don't mean now. I was made. Will I die? Do I get an ending like others do?
In my time, I have come across many like you. And also none like you. But I can say with certainty that everybody climbs the mountain.
Then I look forward to the hike someday.
Just keeps petting the sheep.
Do you want your sheep back?
I suppose me and Cordelia should get going. There's still a lot to do. And I have a lot of explaining to do.
There's a moment where, while Maple doesn't really breathe, there is like this glow from their chest of green sparkles, almost an inhale of sorts. And they use speak with animals, and they just say,
It was very nice to rest with you, Cordelia.
and like places them down, gives them a little pat.
Cordelia kind of wiggles as you pat her and says, "It was very nice to meet you, dearie. You know people."
Yeah.
Yeah. The shepherd gets up, kind of dusts off her legs, reaches down, gives Cordelia a little scratch behind the ears, and kind of turns, takes a few steps, and Cordelia starts to follow, and then she stops, turns to look at you. Would you like to come?
I think the whole time while they got up to go, just kind of standing there, not even awkwardly, just kind of present. Maple's head tilts, and they put up like a finger, take a few steps back to the brush, and they scoop up this small little frog. It's not very big, and walks them over to the little pond and places them down gently. And then with some of that green magic, they make little like aphids and mosquitoes kind of rise from the water so that the frogs and the dragonflies just eat. And Maple kind of looks and then follows.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
The shepherd smiles, nods, and the three of you begin to walk through the trees. It doesn't take too long before you find a large tree with a purple door. And the shepherd kind of nudges Cordelia. Go on, open the door. Cordelia kind of trots forward. Little spring and a little step as she nudges the door with her head, and the door opens, and beyond you can see this blinding white light. And as Cordelia's head touches the light, you see her form begin to shift as she glows and turns into this kind of ethereal spirit that just passes through the door.
I think wordlessly just standing by the shepherd, there's just like a little hand that waves.
The shepherd kind of looks at you and smiles and says, "It's alright, you'll see her on the other side."
Do I walk through?
I mean, I don't know of a quicker way.
Your door is small.
As he like 10'3", big old just kind of like does the kneel under the doorway, full like one arm in, other arm following.
As you begin
yeah.
to stoop to the door begins to grow in size.
Oh, fantastic. I think fully unaware of this, he's still playing limbo. How low can I go?
Delightful.
Guidance, I'm doing my part.
So you go through the door.
Absolutely.
Delightful. As you pass through the doorway, you are enveloped in this warm, soft, bright glow And that is where we are going to pick up in session 1.